This is day 247 of the Arukh HaShulchan OC. If you'd like to sponsor upcoming shir or more of the Arukh HaShulchan OC, be greatly appreciated. Please contact me directly. Today we are finishing Siman Kuf Samach. We are going from Siman Kuf Samach Sif Nun till Siman Kuf Samach Tes Sif Dal, which is actually the end of Siman Kuf Samach Tes and the end of Hilchos B'tzias HaPas. Nun. Kos Rabbeinu B'Yisrael B'Siv Yitzayim Pashtida. This bread pastry, Hanefet Tanur, which is cooked in an oven, was baked in an oven, thus dogging with a filling of meat or fish or bean or cheese. Make a motzi in it and berachas amosa. Ak kalashonu. Because Rabbeinu Ramah, the Ramah adds, it's only you baked it in the oven without any liquid. If you baked it in a pan with liquid in it, so then it becomes cooking. But he says, well, maybe not. You shouldn't make any bracha, not any bracha, and not mazonos or motzi, meaning more masupik what to make, and therefore even within a meal, commotion is bar, as has been explained. Explains Arukh HaShulchan, but pashtidu pas gomer. Pashtidu is bread. It's like pizza, right? The dough is bread dough. Where the dough is bread dough, and here it's bread dough because it's only or very primarily needed with water. So it's patzkar meshnosim basar or gvina. You put meat or cheese into it. It's saying about Purim like us by Purim. Shememalim shumshim balechem. We fill up sesame and bread that are hamadashim. We're bread like. We explained this yesterday. That which you want to when you cook it in a pan in liquid in you should only eat it within the meal. This is because of liquid. Because maybe it's canceled its characterization as bread because it's cooking. But that's the only reason I'm saying because there's not much liquid. But there's a lot of liquid. And so it's no longer considered bread. We also saw that yesterday. There's one of the Magen Avram writes in the name of the Tanya, one of the Rishonim. It's Pashtida Zum Vorech HaMoitzi Rak Shekova Suda. You make a Muslim Pashtida, and this Pashtida of the Beis Yosef Ramon when you Kovei Suda on it. Avalo below Zem Borach Mazonos, otherwise it's a Mazonos. V'nishar b'tzarchim, which is a leniency over the Ramah. V'ein kamokamiyim klal. Arukh HaShulchan regrets that rejects that mokamiyim. Says nothing to be mine. We explained the difference between this and the possible case according to the opinion that it is with a filling of fruit and spices. The spices are primary. If you're going to pass, you can hear the bread is primary. Okay, pashadu. So that's it's obvious that Tanya Marishmalim Bosar Abe, the Tanya said where it's full of a lot of meat. So the meat is primary. Oshatik no mat. Or you fried it, but a little bit. Pashtida, I shouldn't say a little bit. You fried it a little bit, and perhaps that is enough to make it possible kistin. Pashtida is bar, but our pashtida in this sif ain't some extra lechem. Gomer's no doubt is actual bread. Kapsak Rabbi saying about the Shulchan Aruch, like the author of the Shulchan Aruch have written. But it's Mishachal ben Zel Kistin is so something distinguished between this and kistin. Should the mealy pears tava ain't of them in the mealy basar. If it's full of spices and fruit, it's not similar to basar. Why? The mili pears yoser mevata midors lechem. Putting the fruit in makes it less bread and more pastry. That's Magen Avram. Lanigas dating near a bar of the shteim shavim. Shon says no. It has to do with they're both equivalent. It has to do with how much filling there is. The amili ain't a briba kokach if there's not such much filling. Pas ikar the bread is primary. Be a riba gadol, but if they're the there's a lot of filling. Amili ikar the filling is primary. Dina. That's how Arukh HaShulchan Paskins. He brings down in brackets here Magen Avram, which is astounded at, but it's not going to enlighten us at this point. Mishnah Berurah says the Mechaber story about when it's made like stam bread, which is made to satisfy. Remember, Mishnah Berurah puts a big emphasis on being made to satisfy. Therefore, it's not possible to kistin. which is only made as an appetizer or a dessert, which requires some just for sweeten the palate. But if you make, and this is also what you said before, make flat bread and you put in them a little bit of morsels of meat, it's clear that it's only made for dessert. Which is interesting. Desserts they had. And then it's like a bread which is full of fruit and other types of sweetness. They don't make a motzi or bersamosa unless you're koveh suda on them, as we saw previously. Nun Alf, that you should know. Sheish mishkas, those who wrote. There is the Mogen Avraham wrote. The Isra Shalosh made beitzim if a bread was needed or dough was needed with eggs, but not beloshim, without fat, without oils, finefes, and it's baked lechem gomer. Who, according to this, egg matzah would be a motzi. According to this, egg challah. It was a motzi, even if not koveh suda, right? The beitzim nami mazanu, because eggs are also nutritious and substantial, like the flour. It doesn't negate the categorization of this the bread as bread. That's the end of the quote from Mogen Avraham. It's astonishing, says Arukh HaShulchan. What does it have to do with whether it's nutritious and satisfies? Anytime it's not needed with water, that's it. Now we pass it. In all the exercises of Israel, we make kichlos. I just had some, which are made with eggs, because my name is Onos. Unless you were koveh suda on them. Mishnah Berurah says he brings down Mogen Avraham as a subak if it's a possible babakistin, and that the Derech Chaim Begrad determined that it is a possible babakistin. Also to Mogen Avraham and the Hanogas Sagra. That's the minhag, which actually is not like Rosh Hashanah, it's more machmir. He's going to say it's hamotzi. Oh no, sorry. Derech Chaim Begrad decided it is possible babakistin, and therefore we don't make hamotzi. Sorry, and nevertheless, Mogen Avraham writes, the Yerei Shemaim will only eat it as mazonos if the entire liquid in the batter was from mei beitzim, no, without water at all. Mishnah Berurah then brings down his well-known idea that if it's dak, if it's a flat bread and dry, then it's not considered to be bread, even if it's made with water. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. That which Mogen Avraham brought from Taisus, that this is considered to be, this egg, challah or matzah, is considered to be bread. They wrote explicitly, Suda say, if it's only for koveh suda, ayin sham. Kam b'chulim b'tesis dibra maschil, Simonish Kosel Isa and Eloshim Basin, Vorchem Mamotzi, Ayin Sham, Gankiker Muslim Kvil Suda, it's only with a Kvil Suda. Shbel Lekos and Meforsh, Tikshinosh Beitzim, Hakim Onilish Bedvash, and the Shbel Lekos writes explicitly when it's needed with eggs, it's tantamount to being needed with honey. And he says, Brakas Chinus Abed Memer, Oizem Sub Simon Zeh, Zel Shono, Pas, Shanilosh Biyain, bread which is needed with wine, or Beitzim, or eggs of Sharmei, Peros, or any other type of fruit juice. Because there's Borim Minazonos, Bachas Mizonos, Ayin Sham. Chen Pasaka going to Yehudim Dog Mubavas, Sov Simazev, Zeloshano, Gam Inilosh Bebeitzim, if it's needed with eggs. Mevorav Borim Mizonos, you make them Mizonos, Ayin Sham, Chen Ikar Lid Dina. Simakum Samates. Dinim Shvashama Shel Suram. This is the halachas of the waiters on the meal. Aleph, Kol Bar Machal, B'Shembin L'Yodam. The date tsar, any food stuff which brings a person to anguish if they don't eat it, don't partake of it. They're not part of the meal. They're not supposed to partake of it, but if they don't partake of it, they have anguish. They have anguish. Shino symptom, in the way they don't give him taste. Barichos when he smells its fragrance. Vayishemachli Yishol Reachtov has a good fragrance. Okua Gedoyla. You know, I didn't know this, but the Jastro is now online, and the Jastro translates that as acidity or acridity, which is a kind of state. It's not so much a fragrance, but You feel the sitting ingredient grits your teeth. It says interesting, when you see it in front of you, it's not clear whether that's in and of itself sufficient. But here it's because here you're seeing and smelling or feeling acidic. In Mitzrayim you have anguish, yochlis, nasei can be damaged as a result. So therefore, the obligation of Baal Bais when the mishamesh is mishameshim, brings him some of this food. And the shamash eats it. I'm sorry. I read it wrong. So when the shamash was serving, because that brings him such food, and he the Baal Bais eats it, so he said, you have to give a little bit also to the shamash, that he should taste it. The Chacham general principle, anything which has a fragrance, and has acidity or acridity. It's not and, but or. Either a fragrance or acidity. It's damaging to somebody who in front of whom it's eaten and he doesn't eat. That's end of quote from Rashi. In first Arukh HaShulchan, the ikar taiva is when the Baal Bais starts eating, not prior. Midas Chasidus is given immediately from everything which is going to come out on the table, which might be in that category. But Api Allah, you always give from one type, even though there are other acidic or fragrant dishes, because that already diminishes desires. As we said, you don't have to give it after you eat. Midas Chasidus is pious, before you eat. It seems to me, why we're not careful about this. The servants taste themselves in the cookhouse, in the kitchen. Furthermore, the also, this is only by rich people that they have such dishes. They say, about rich people, they can eat whatever they want anyway. But you can't make a stipulation. They're not going to give this to the waiter. It's like Masa Mashkosa Batera. But he says not quite, because there's no monetary issue involved, but rather came Shatam Mishum Tsar. It's because of the anguish. B'sharing on him, Mahani Tanoi, and other things, a condition would work. The Bir Halacha writes that even a person who's not a shamish, if he's present and has that sensation, you have to also give him a little bit to taste. Mishabura says a little bit is enough because that restores him. Bir Halacha brings down that if they brought you, I'm kind of confused, Mishabura, they brought you several dishes which have a fragrance or acidity. You have to give the Bir Halacha says you have to give him from each and every one. Mishabura doesn't say that. Mishabura says Midas Chasidus give him each and every one. But, no. Mishabura says the Midas Chasidus is given for each and every one, which is not, doesn't have Reicha Kua. But Arukh HaShulchan is saying that the Midas Chasidus is to give from each and every type which seems has a Kua. And the Pidin, you have to give him one of those types. Mr. Bura holds Al Pidin, you have to give him all the types, which have Kua or Reicha. What you don't have to give is from things that don't have Reicha Kua, that's Midas Chasidus to give it. The Bir Halacha writes, when you have a servant you hired for after the year, they say at the beginning, when you bring me something which has acidity or fragrance, I give you permission that you should taste it first. That's not a condition, it's a stipulation. That's good enough. You should not give him food when you're holding onto a cup, or when he's holding onto a cup. Person should not give a slice of bread to a shamash where the cup is in the hand of the shamash. I guess Ben Baal Bais, something missing here. But because maybe because they're too concerned with a piece of bread, Yushva Hakos, they'll spill the cup. Ben Shakos Baal Bais is true also when the cup is in the hand of Baal Bais. Shemi Stakel for a different reason. He's going to look at what he's giving to the shamash. Yishmael Kos, he's going to spill the cup. Chem Fush Batur. The Rashi's Pirish. Rashi explains, it's going on one of the guests, not on the Baal Bayis or the Shamash. Ein Sham. Zel Rak La Shamash. But this is only as regards to Shamash. But other people at the meal, they can give to each other even when the cup is in the hands of Baal Bayis. So it sounds like, according to Rashi, the issue is not so much that the cup will spill, but that it's an affront to the Baal Bayis to give, you're toasting, I guess, and giving that food at the same time to the shamash. Whether he's members of his household or guests, they can pass to each other even while holding the goblets. They gave him the zimnom eno makbid aleim, that since the person invited them is not meticulous about this, they can do what they want. But they give to somebody who's not from the party. Dina kashamash. Is that how the like shamash and should not have a cup of wine in your hand? V'achshav, I guess, because it's bizarre. V'achshav lay down and said, we don't know about any of this stuff today. That's not my such to see a miyayin kfilas v'chol. By them, they used to drink wine standard every meal. V'lo can't say not by us. Lachein, I feel them mikra no shresim ksas. We drink a little bit. Lo chayshina. We don't care about these details. Nun Gimel. Sorry, Gimel. Oh, it's the Gemara Sham. It says the ainli tein pusal shamish anki yoder shnachal yodav. And that's going to give us a bread to the shamish, unless you know that you wash. Mashim and Rashi Sham the rock with shamish cheshin inside. So Rashi we only can say about this by the shamish. And we told you tochos because since he's distracted, litain on shulchos to serve yishkam yitoyot might forget to wash his hands. Ein sham. Avo ba'acher, but another person lo cheshin lo. We don't suspect this. To laman achshokos yishisro. Why would we think such a thing about a Jewish person? Avo rabbeinu yainel, because of the kenadim choladim. You can't give it to anybody unless they wash. They washed. Mized take from this and for gamke. They litain lodam leachol enken yodeh bo shivolech. Shouldn't give to anybody to eat anything unless they're going to make a bracha. Much because the rabbeinu is Yosef C base. B'yesh mishakos after those right the rock with the daim tzorach l'chshol shon the daim. You have to be concerned. Mishum shal love litol yadayim kodem shlokach aprusul litoch yado, because he's supposed to wash his hands before he takes the bread. Avla motzi alo tzorach litan lo kodem shi. Mishum shal love litol yadayim kodem shal. אבל מוציא, הלא צריך ליתן לו קודם שיברך. אבל מוציא, but the bracha motzi, you have to give to him before he makes the bracha, so he can make that motzi. Then if you give it to him and he doesn't make a bracha, it's not your fault anymore. That's the bach. If you give it to the nani as charity, if you are ben Ramah. And this is what it means to say that tzedakah having mitzvah, tzarach litin lo. Tzedakah's mitzvah. You must give. He can't impede his giving. Because of the doubt. They might may not make a bracha. They ain't savi. The doubt that he might make a bracha does not does not remove you the mandatory obligation of giving tzedakah. That's in terms of motzi. Washing. Until he told me he's got to wash first. Also give to somebody the food as a gift. Not as tzedakah. You shouldn't give it to him unless you know it's going to make a bracha. And if you know for sure he's not going to make a bracha, also feel not allowed to give it to a poor person. Mishnah Berurah brings in the name of the Mishnah Berurah says name. Not in the name of Shabbat. It's only if out of his rishus is not going to make a bracha, but because if he has some compelling extenuating circumstance which can make a bracha, then the mitzvah tzedakah doesn't fall off on this account. The Shabbat also writes the name of Taz that was since the Mechaber says. Oh, is this the next thing? Yeah, going next thing. Sorry. There's a famous Tshuva of Shlomo Zalman, the Mincha Shlem, which he says that the Chil Hashem of causing Orthodox frum Jews to look bad and they don't give food to non-frum Jews, Bisman Hazeh, when it would be misconstrued, is also enough of a reason to give them food, even if they didn't wash. Da, Kosar Rabbeinu Beis Yosef. B'sib Gimel, Hashamash Bari Pri Hagofen, Al Kos, Sheetin Lo, Lefi Shur Kinmach. Shamash Lamech Bari Begomen, each cup he drinks from, because each one is a Chiddush, who says going to get the next one. Baruch Hu and Baruch Hu Basal. Baruch Hu, you only make it the end. Ve'etzel Baruch Hu Prusa Prusa, Yesh Adam Chashav Besuda. If you don't make a bracha on every slice of bread, if there's a distinguished personage present, She'odeh, She'etin Lo, Kos because then he knows they're going to give him everything he needs. Lav Dafka, and that's true not necessarily just about bread. He says in brackets here, it's true about any food. That's the name of the Taz. Now in this, the Mishnah Berurah is the name of the Taz. And since the Mechaber says bread, sounds specifically by bread, the Talmud Chacham should caution the people present to give the shamish. And so to everything else, even though bread doesn't have a Q or a recha, so to everything else that has a recha Q, you have to give it to him. But anything else, which is only as chasidus, then you can't, then he has to break up, since it's not, you're not compelled to give it to him, so then he has to make a bracha on everything they give him each and every time. Because maybe because maybe the time the Chacham is not going to be careful to keep that which is midas chasidus, and therefore each time it's like a new chiddush in the eating. Margamor is not sure, but that's what the Mishnah Berurah says. Back to the Arukh HaShulchan. There's actually not the Arukh HaShulchan space in Beis Yosef. There's no significant chashuv of a person that tzarich lebarach al kol prusa. Prusa has to make a bracha on every slice of bread. K'mal yayin ad kal lashon. V'im hayu adaito shel shamash the tent was b'shas hakos rishon. The time he had the first cup, shabir when he made the bracha b'kemer kiven al kol koshin, and he had in mind specifically on all the cups they're going to give him. Ain't so barach al kol kos, you don't make a bracha on each every cup. V'chein be'prusa, same thing is true about the slices. Yesh Mishchal said those who argue with Lamahani Kabanaso, they all does Kabbalah doesn't work. Came to day, you know, since he doesn't know if they're going to give him or not. But certainly in the end, it's not clear what the halacha should be. So Simakumai Tesis Baraz Ebisab Shmas will discuss further. Because Rabbeinu Ramaz Shtaim Shokli Meyacha, two people eat together. Shamash Ochel Imohem, the Shamash can eat with them without washing. Without getting permission. That's when they get explicit permission. Because they need him in order to make a zimun, and on that side that they want to do a mitzvah. Mishnah Berurah says that this makes sense, so to say that he only has permission to eat the minimal amount required for him to be able to join in the zimun. Solik hilchos b'tzias ha'as.